Welcome to C-Suite Sherpas, where we shine the spotlight on business expert and resources that you should know. Our mission is to connect our listeners to the expert who will help you boost your personal and professional performance. And I'm really happy today to introduce you to our guest, Heath Jackson. He is CEO and founder of TruGrowth Consulting, and they specialize in transforming financial advisory firms into infinite practices, sustainable, scalable, and consistently growing businesses. So with that, Heath, I'm thrilled to have you here today. Let's jump right in if you're ready.
Yeah, likewise, Ron. Thanks for having me on here.
All right. Can you give us a snapshot of your business and some of the major outcomes that you really get for your clients?
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said at the beginning, focused on creating infinite advisory practices. We may get into more of that later, but that's really about the long game. It's less
Mm.
about what is it that we can get right now, or how hard can we push right this moment, making it to where it lasts forever or somewhere just short of forever. I've been in the business for over 2 decades in the financial planning, financial advisory space. And really, I work with firms and we go down three brand pillars or core pillars. And we focus on the leadership of the firm. How do we elevate that? How do we make decision makers out of the leadership crew? How do we guide them towards success, strategic planning, streamlined advice delivery? So how do we look at what that product is that advisors provide to their clients, which is advice? How do we optimize it? How do we make it more efficient? And how do we make the clients stickier and more
Right.
happy with what they're getting? The third thing is really the ideal workforce. Most advisors didn't get into the business to lead people and build teams. I did. But so a lot of it is, how do you build that high performing team? Who do you hire? When do you hire? How do you create structures inside the firm to make sure that you're getting the most out of people and people are getting the most out of this career?
Wow, that's
Um,
great. Do you have any examples of kind of what you've delivered for a client like that?
Yeah, absolutely. You say a client like that, I would say that typical client is they're just over $1 million in gross annual revenue. They're somewhere under 15 million in gross revenue. So we're talking about small, independent advisory firms, financial planning firms. They are usually three partners, three owners, three decision makers. And I'm sure you know this. It's a lot easier when there's one. It's way more difficult when there's three.
Mm.
So decisions move very slowly. One of these three partners are usually also the advisors of the firm. So they're all bringing in clients. They're all working with clients. And at the end of the day, one of them's giving a lot more. It's very comprehensive. It's very time intensive. One of them is doing the opposite and the other one is right in the middle. And so
Right.
that's really that advice delivery mechanism. And then there's usually different thoughts on, let's grow a firm, let's grow the people of our firm. And some that say, nope, I don't want to hire anybody. I don't want to spend anything. So
Yeah.
these are the firms that are coming to me. What they end up with at the end is, I'll start from the end because that's really the human capital plan. That is, who do we hire? When do we hire? I help them hire. I find the people. We'll get to one of my, I think is a value add is I work with a lot of third parties, very similar to what you do. And I think one of the reasons why we're connected here is that we believe in referring and recommending outside experts and counsel when necessary.
Yeah.
So that
Thanks
advice
for sharing.
package, yeah. So they ended up with a new client service model. They usually end up with a different fee model, whether that's charging more or charging differently. And usually it's a much quicker, easier to use deliverable that they're providing to the clients. Then I'll start the first part, which is the leadership side. It is management routines. It is, so what are the structured ways that we lead the firm? What KPIs are we looking at? What kind of strategic vision are we striving for?
Wow, that's comprehensive. It seems like you really dive into the business and understand the critical success components, let's say, right? So what do you say is probably the most important thing that sets you apart from other people in the space that might do similar things?
Ooh. Can I give you three? It's a good one.
Sure.
Okay. So outside of, there's not a whole lot of firms that are specific to financial planning owners and firms. There's just not many of those out there. Forgetting about the expertise that I've devoted my life to the financial advisory space. Let's leave that out. The three that I would say is, like you mentioned, it's very comprehensive. So those three core pillars, they encompass all of the areas pertaining to growth of a firm. So nothing gets left out. There's nothing that I say to a firm, we can't broach that. We can't discuss that. We can't solve that. It doesn't mean we always solve it, but there's nothing that we won't touch as part of our process. The bespoke arrangements with clients. I've been with other places that everything is cookie cutter. Nothing is cookie cutter, almost to a negative on my running my own business, is making sure that the arrangement is specific to the client. And then I think it's collaborative. I mentioned the third party integration. There's not a single time that I'm working with one of my advisory firms and I'm not bringing in an outside partner because it's needed.
I see. Okay. What do you think the biggest challenge is that your industry faces, and how are you helping your clients to tackle that challenge?
Now that's good. And there's a lot of those. The technological advancement, right? It's faster than it's ever been right now. Influx of information, artificial intelligence has been so huge on the scene, especially in an industry that is fighting having to use it, or maybe trying to figure out how the regulatory bodies will let them use it.
Right.
So take that, and then you also put in a very noisy marketplace of the different types of firms, all the custodians, and there's a ton out there to decide from. Technology at the speed of light right now, everything is so overwhelming to advise. So I know that seems like it's like I just gave you about 7 or 8. It's really one. Confusion, right? It's overwhelming. And advisors do like I do at home when I've got to clean the garage. But I can't clean the garage until I get the project done in the backyard, because that's why I have the tools out. I can't do the project in the backyard because I'm still trying to get that thing done in my home office. So when it comes time to spend some time on it, I get overwhelmed and I do nothing. That's what's happening to advisors right now in the space, is they're choosing to just do nothing and keep things going the way that they were, which if you're not enhancing, if you're not improving, then you're going the opposite direction at all times. You can't stay the same. So what I do is I've got a commitment to my clients that I'm in those spaces. I'm staying on top of technological advancement. I have the information. I'm using AI as what I think industry leading uses of AI right now. I'm using integration to techniques for technology, and I'm bringing that to the firms. At least I can hand it to them. They can make a choice whether they want it to or no. But at the end of the day, they know what others are doing and what they could do to catch up to it.
That's pretty exciting. AI obviously is changing our world. It's going to be a future, right?
And there's no avoiding it. If you're trying to avoid it, you're going to fail at that because you just can't.
Yeah. And so do you have an example of like where you really help somebody to apply AI, or a specific application of AI that's not proprietary?
I'll give you the biggest one right now, and this is the easiest one to use it for. Now I say easy in this industry where you've got advisors that are regulated by the SEC, by FINRA, by possibly OCC, by the state. There's all kinds of hidden agendas. There's all kinds of interpreted, very difficult to interpret. Right. Here's the example: AI meeting notes. So being able to take a transcription of a client meeting, whether it's in person, whether it's on the phone, being able to do that and trust AI to help you. And you're not asking AI to give recommendations. That's one of the tricky points of using it right now in this industry. What you're asking it to do is sit in the room, take notes, and be able to comprehend and be able to write that summary, write those action items. That's the type of innovation that could save advisory firms at least 1 hour for every meeting that they have with clients.
Wow. That's a lot. That's aggressive liberation.
Yeah. I think if you get a little bit further out, you can start using some of the technologies where you're integrating AI and it's automatically looking at AI instead of you manually doing that each time, which the meeting would be. I don't know if we're ready for that yet. Other industries have started it. We're trying to integrate it in the financial space, but it's slow.
Yeah. So let's do something a little fun so people
Okay.
get to know you personally, know a little bit.
I'm having fun with this, Ron. Well,
That's really good stuff, by the way. Very good
Look,
stuff.
right.
So you mentioned to me a hobby that I thought was very interesting. You want to talk a little bit about that?
No, I want to talk a lot about it. I'll spend the next hour with it. No, I got into this business because I couldn't keep my mouth shut. I kept saying things like, hey, why don't we do, or what if we did it this way? And I kept getting put in the situation where my leaders or my bosses would say, great, go do it. So my hobby was very similar to that in that I'm looking at tents. We're a big camping and outdoor family. Every trip we take is built around a national park of some sort.
Oh, that's great.
I'm looking at tents. This tent is $1,000. And I said, that looks so simple. It looks like I could make that. And my wife said, well, go do it. So $6,000 later, I've built that tent. It wasn't as good. I realized how hard it was to build a tent and what it took, design and the types of ingredients, materials that are part of that. I learned a ton and it turned out to be a hobby. It was a terrible decision to try to build $1,000 tent. So I do that. I build camping and hiking gear. I love doing leather work as well. So it's very bespoke. I struggle to ever make the same thing twice.
Yeah, that is cool.
I run the first differently. Thank you.
All right. I got some quick ones, some quick hitters for you. Coffee or tea?
Tea.
Cats or dogs?
Dogs. Allergic to cats.
Yes. You and I both. If you could only grab one weapon or item during a zombie apocalypse, what would it be?
It would be my deer rifle, my 308.
There you go. What about your favorite quote or phrase that you think about often?
Ooh, I'd have to come back to that one. Favorite quote. It'd probably be from The Simpsons or from The Office. Yeah, I'd have to come back to that one.
Favorite book?
Actually, let me go back to the quote. Right. My dad once told me, if you don't use your mind, you might as well have two butts. I'm going to go with that as my quote. And
I love that.
I didn't like it then. I like it now.
Yeah. It's funny how we become like our dads at some point. We start with that stuff, right?
That's right.
One bucket list item that you've already accomplished and one that you have not yet accomplished.
Okay. Bucket list item that I've accomplished, 25 national parks. I don't know if you'd say that's a bucket list, but that they all came out of that bucket that I wanted to be a part of. Let's see, bucket list item that I haven't accomplished yet would be singing or performing in an auditorium, like a big auditorium. Bucket list is I've performed in front of 4,000 people. I'd love to do it in front of 20,000.
Oh, that's
it's in the bucket, but the bucket I'm putting way away from me.
That gives me sweats right now, just thinking about that. So what, the most important question, if any of our viewers would like to get a hold of you, how do they get in touch with you?
Yeah, the best way would be to go to my website. It's TruGrowth.consulting. And that's the TruGrowth, all one word, no E in the middle. There you can see any of my, what I call true learning content. And it's linked right there in the top right-hand side. So you can read the content, the writing that my firm has done to see if any of that sticks with you. If there's anything that interests you, you can see all of my services that I offer. I've chosen to be over transparent and I've basically listed a detailed version of all my services at the bottom. And there's several places on the website where you can hit a button and schedule a call with me. That takes you immediately to a 45-minute session with me. There's no charge. I don't add you to a list where you get emails every day for the rest of your life. It's just, let's chat and you decide if you want to move forward or if we're just going to work together as networking partners for the rest of the time.
Awesome. All right, Heath, thank you for your time and your insights today. It was really interesting. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ron. I enjoyed this. Good job.